Welcome everyone. I'm Adam Miller. I'm here with Jim Fitzsimmons and Mark Deere. Appreciate you joining us today. We plan to cover several topics, all from the freight market. We'll hit on some of the adjustments we've made in our terminal network, an update on some of the wrap trucks we've been doing over the years and what that looks like today. We'll touch on some technology. We'll hit on dedicated. Mark will give us an update on that and some of the things we have going around on driver appreciation. So we got a lot of information packed in, and then we'll obviously take questions like we have in the past. So maybe I'll jump in and just give a quick update on the freight market. I know this is kind of a top of mind for most of our drivers and our non-drivers and mechanics. We went into the fourth quarter with several projects, maybe more than we've seen in several years. And our drivers did an unbelievable job executing on those projects. Now there's still some that are ongoing that we'll have into December, but we got a lot of great feedback from our customers around how well we handled the surge, unbelievable service, and the communications band. When they have those projects moving forward, we're going to be one of the first carriers that they call to help execute on those. So want to just send my appreciation to all our drivers and our operations team, our mechanics who ensured that we had equipment available, and just the execution from our team around that. And it did show some additional productivity in our equipment, and hopefully helped boost the paychecks of many of our drivers who participated in those projects. As we get into December, we're still seeing some projects that are lingering out there, some opportunities. I'd say the markets are fairly balanced. We have certain pockets where the markets are tighter than others, and then a couple where we could use a few more loads, and our teams are working hard to balance our markets and make sure we can keep our drivers productive over the road. There's a lot going on in our industry right now, and you may see this on the news. There's a lot of initiatives with our current administration really centered around ensuring the safety on our roads. And so there's a lot of focus around ensuring we have good quality drivers that are on our roads that can help ensure the safety of truck drivers that are out there, but also the general public. So those initiatives include ensuring that we are focused on any CDLs that were issued improperly. Many of them are focused on the non-domiciled CDL and the fact that some of these states were not following the guidelines on how those are being issued. So I know there's an audit that's underway with many states, and there are some CDLs that are going to be revoked over the coming months here that will maybe take some drivers off the road that were not issued a proper CDL. We've got a big focus on English proficiency to ensure that those that are over the road in commercial vehicles know how to speak English and know how to read our road signs to ensure that they're safe over the road. And there's also several initiatives around ensuring we have good quality CDL schools that help train future drivers and ensure that those that have a CDL are well equipped to handle the vehicles over the road. And I know there's audits that are underway of many schools that are not maybe compliant, or there's a risk of not being compliant. So a lot of these initiatives really centered around ensuring that we have the safest roads possible are going to be impacting capacity most likely in our industry. And we're already starting to see pockets of the impact there, particularly in California and maybe a few other handful of states, where we're seeing a different, a difference in the amount of capacity available when we're trying to broker loads. We're seeing customers reach out with needs of longer length of haul loads, where you have loads that are maybe going through more checkpoints. So very fluid right now. And so what I'd ask of our drivers, of our operations, is that we remain flexible. So our customers may come to us with needs to help with lanes that we don't typically haul for them because they've had their supply chain begin to be impacted by some of these initiatives to take some of the unsafe drivers off the road. And so we may be asked to do some things that we don't typically do. And so we ask that our people be flexible and try to support our customers through this adjustment. And I think it'll put us in a good position to capture some opportunity, pick up some market share, and maybe run a few extra miles for our drivers and help support their paychecks. So a lot going on. We're trying to stay very in tune with it. We communicate regularly with the different states and their MVDs. We talk with law enforcement. We're talking with our customers regularly to see what changes they may have and try to prepare for it. But a lot going on in our industry right now, a lot going on in the market, and we're just trying to stay close and put us in great position. So when we do see the market turn, we do see a better environment for carriers. We are getting maybe the most value that we can out of that market. And hey, right now our sales teams, our market teams are focused on finishing the year strong, and then starting off really well in the first quarter, which typically can be a slower period in trucking. But with some of the dynamics on the capacity front, we may see that maybe play out a little bit different than normal seasonality. So we're really staying close to that, and we'll continue to communicate with our teams.
And I've had people ask me, are we in good shape when it comes to non-domicile and our CDL schools? And this is an area where we're going to have great opportunity because we're in great shape in both those areas. And so this is just an example of where, as this starts to impact the overall space of trucking, Swift's going to be in a very good spot to take advantage of this, where other small carriers, are going to have a tough road ahead when these start to take place.
Yeah, the assumption is a lot of these non-domicile CDLs were issued in a space that competes with over-the-road trucking, which is largely what we compete in. And so I think as that capacity exit, that does leave a gap that we'll be well positioned to fill. And we're seeing customers try to divert more of their opportunities to the larger, well-capitalized, maybe the carriers that are in better position to kind of navigate some of these some of these administration changes or the focuses that they have. So Jim, do you want to touch on maybe some of the changes in our terminal network and wrap trucks?
Yeah, so there are some questions about terminal closures. Are we doing any more? How come we closed a couple of the terminals that we did? So just to kind of clarify so everyone's on the same page, we did close down 2 terminals this year. St. Louis, Missouri, now it's still open, the shop's still open, so you can still get your truck service there. We can still use the yard. We have an extra drop lot in St. Louis as well. And then the other one was Menasha, Wisconsin. And so both those we kind of looked at for different reasons. Both of those got closed down. We're not looking at anything else right now. So if the concern was around, is my terminal going to get closed down, which when we close a terminal down, it doesn't mean everyone loses their job. The drivers get pushed to other terminals. And so you keep your truck, some cases you actually keep your same driver leader. Like in Menasha, we were able to retain 2 driver leaders. They moved to a different facility. St. Louis is a little bit different, but the drivers don't lose their jobs. We try to find homes for as many of the mechanics and then the office staff as we can. But we're not looking at doing anything else right now. But I will tell you, we're always, as a business, we're always looking at different avenues, profit loss, the P&L, how's the terminal doing, how's the hiring in that area, do we have freight in that area to get drivers in and out, does it make sense to keep growing a terminal, or do we want to hold it flat, or like occasionally, very rare, we shut a terminal down. So when we do that, trust me, we've looked at all possible scenarios on how do we keep that terminal open, but sometimes it's just the best business decision to close a terminal.
Yeah, sometimes you're just going to have changes in your network. I know Menasha was there to support a very large customer, and then eventually that account went away, and there wasn't a lot of support for having a terminal in Menasha. But we're also looking at where are there opportunities to grow terminals, right? And so over the years, we've opened up Las Vegas, Mobile, Statesboro will be coming on board. So we're always looking at how do we optimize our network, and sometimes that means doing less in terms of certain markets.
Yeah, and we're only about probably 2 months out from having the new Statesboro terminal open, as well as Houston. So both those are getting very close. On the wrap trucks, we just released our latest wrap truck this week, actually, for Children's Miracle Network. Is it Cole? Is that it?
Yep.
Cole's on the side of the truck. Neat story behind that kid and his family. But we have kind of put a pause on the other wrap trucks. Reason being just the expense. 2026 is, we think things are going to get a lot better based on what Adam talked about. As things start to get better, rate starts to go up, we have more profit, we'll look at adding some more wrap trucks. But those are about a $10,000 wrap when you see one of those trucks. So, it's an expensive product to put on the truck, but, drivers love them. We love them as well. Looks really cool. We've done quite a few cool themes, and so the plan will be as the money starts to free up a little bit, we'll start doing some of that kind of fun stuff that doesn't bring any more revenue, but it's gets some fun publicity out of it.
Mark, do you want to touch on some dedicated opportunities?
Yeah, first I want to maybe add something to Jim's terminal discussion, because we also made some changes to Willows, California, which was more of a dedicated terminal, and so that one changed this year, as well as Martinsburg, West Virginia. So we did have a couple others that were impacted as well, and we know that it was tough on a few drivers, but for the most part, as Jim alluded to, I mean, these were strategic decisions that we made. We made sure that we had alternate plans of handling the business that was managed out of those buildings. And hey, it's working out well. Our customers are happy, and we'll continue to move on there. So let me talk a little bit about dedicated. And so to Adam's point about drivers doing a great job servicing our business, I just want to thank all of our dedicated drivers for what they've done this fourth quarter so far. We're not done yet. We've got more holidays to work around and to execute through. But hey, this is a reason why a lot of our customers hire Swift Dedicated, because we have the ability to get the job done during their most important time of the year, whether that's the holiday season or that's the peak retail season, Black Friday, etc. Volumes are high, a lot of pressure to get product to market on the shelves so that they can make sales. And our folks just do a great job. Our non-drivers that support those drivers, our mechanics, everyone involved just really takes care of business. And we've so far had a really successful holiday season with a lot of kudos from our customers. So just a great job, and let's keep at it and finish strong like we always do. As far as where kind of the status of our dedicated business is, we implemented a couple larger fleets in the second half of this year, which was a little bit unique. Most of our growth is usually second and third quarter related, but we had a few late entrants this year. We expect to get a better start to 2026 with some new fleets starting either in late Q1 or Q2. And we're very excited about that. A couple core customers have extended us awards already, and we're looking forward to taking that business on. But we think there's more out there, and we potentially may hear soon about a couple other opportunities. So pipeline is looking better. That just because the pipeline looks better doesn't mean that necessarily we're going to win all those, but certainly competing. And as long as we continue to perform, and we've got a great pricing and design team, sales team that's helping us support those new opportunities. We're excited about 2026. We think that's going to be a good year for us, and we'll grow back some of the trucks that we may have lost in the last couple of years due to the market changes. So good story there. Let's talk about Q4 and our driver appreciation event. So as most of you know, the major driver appreciation is in September, but at Swift we do it 4 times a year. We do it quarterly. So on December 10th, we will be having a driver appreciation event at all of our terminals. So if you get the chance, please stop by and participate in the events at the terminal, because we want to say thank you. And if we're not saying it every day, we want to at least do it every quarter visibly, so that you know that we care about all the great things that you do for us. Please be safe, and let's make sure that, like I said, let's finish the year strong and really gain some momentum and build that into the first quarter. As Adam said earlier about, hey, we don't really know what to expect going into the first quarter, and it may be a little bit more robust than we've seen in prior years. The other thing I wanted to talk about is we've got a holiday event coming up, and starting December 8th, for every Swift driver and owner-operator, you can pick up your headset, which is right here, at a terminal, and we want to make sure every driver gets one. And this is a neat little item. Comes in a attractive little carrying case here.
You gotta do the hand underneath it, Mark.
Okay, like this. Yeah. There you go.
Vanna White.
Okay, let's make a deal. And then you've got the headset in there, which is a nice little perk, and that's meant for our drivers' convenience and also safety. We want to make sure that you're hands-free and you're focused on the road and being as safe as possible. So please, there's one for every driver and owner-operator. Please pick up yours, and we'll go from there.
All right, I guess that internship at QVC is paying off. Well, I do want to finish up maybe on some technology updates. We've got quite a bit going on that front. The first area I want to touch on is Netrodyne. So it's the new camera system that we're putting into our trucks. We began the installation about midway through this year. We're about 25% done. We're going to be moving as quick as possible. Our goal is to get about almost every truck completed by the end of the first quarter. We've seen some really good feedback on that tool. It's one that is a bit different than the previous camera system that we had in the fact that it'll monitor or analyze 100% of your driving activity versus just trigger events when something actually occurs. So it's designed to really recognize all the positive things our drivers are doing to be safe over the road, but it also picks up more of the things that we can work on, particularly around traffic signals and other areas that we wouldn't have picked up in the previous technology. I'd say our drivers are doing great from a scoring standpoint, well over the target, which is 850. I think we're averaging over 950 in terms of our score. So a lot of great performance, identifying how safe we are as a fleet. Certainly there's going to be areas of opportunity for us to improve upon. There is a new app you'll be able to see on the tablet. I believe it's called the Driver Eye app, and that is part of Netrodyne. It allows you to see how you rank in your fleet, how you rank overall to Swift, allows you to identify opportunities for you to improve your driving behavior. So it gives you some self-scoring, some self-coaching capabilities. So we're excited about that. So look for that in your tablet. And again, we'll be hopefully complete with the rollout here by the end of the first quarter. We're also, as part of this rollout, we're looking at updating all of our tablets as well. We have quite a few older tablets in our trucks, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for some of these new programs to run on those tablets. So I know we've heard some frustration from our drivers. These are the Tab Active 2 tablets that we have. So we're in the process of updating all the older Tab Active 2s to the Tab Active 5. So it gives you plenty of processing power to run the apps that we'll be putting on the tablets. And so that'll most likely run through mid next year in terms of when we can have all those ordered and touch every truck. But that is an initiative that we're really starting to streamline here because of some of the technology that we're rolling out and the fact that you need these quality tablets, the most updated tablets, to be able to run those effectively. As you know, we've moved on to GeoTab, and so that's the new log that we have, and I think that's been very successful. I think we've got a lot of good feedback from our drivers on that front. A couple things that I want to just touch on with GeoTab, a few things that are really important, is that we're certifying our logs every day. That's critical that we do that. So we need to make sure that that's top of mind when we get in to start our day. And then we also, that we're filling out and doing our pre and post trips under DVIR. So those are a couple things I want to just touch on with our drivers to ensure that we're doing that on a regular basis. That keeps us compliant and ensures that we have no issues when we come upon an inspection. And the last thing I want to hit on is our point tool that we have. That's also runs in our tablet. That's our workflow that our drivers utilize. We got a lot of updates that are going on there. First quarter, we expect to have some PTA, ETA enhancements, so the drivers can update their PTAs and ETAs very easily. We'll also have the system that'll be able to read your pre-plan for you while you're driving. So no need to have to stop and pull over to read your pre-plan. It'll be able to read that to you. You'll also have, hopefully by the end of the first quarter, maybe somewhat of an assistant on there. Think of Siri or Alexa, where you can ask this assistant to help you, like send a message to your driver. You could speak out a message, and that can convert it to text and send a message to your driver leader. So a lot of cool things coming down the pipe. Yeah. We continue to develop this tool. Our goal is to make this as helpful as we can in the cab of the truck and really create a best-in-class experience for all of our drivers.
Yeah, and we've been doing a lot longer pilot programs recently to make sure when we have a new tool, whether it's hardware or software, that we really kind of vet that before we roll it out to the masses. So both these have been very well vetted. I think, overall you're going to really be pleased with both of these.
Yeah.
Are we going to call her Alcera or?
We should, yes.
Yeah, we're working on the name. It's not going to
Okay.
be Mark Deere, but I know he proposed that.
God forbid.
Yeah. Well, why don't we jump to some questions?
Yeah,
So-
one thing I want to hit on, there's several questions on it, and I wanted to hit on it anyways, is the owner-op load board.
That's right.
And so we, as you know, we've been rolling it out, kind of a slow rollout, slower than I wanted it to go, but it is what it is. Sometimes technology takes a while. But right now we've got 75 owners in the pilot program, and the plan is in March we should be able to really ramp that up. Now, part of that and really ramping that up is going to be as the freight starts to improve, that will really help that program as well. And so there's some questions in there about how we decide how much freight goes in there, what freight goes in. A lot of that's based on the individual market that we're in. Obviously, when we're underbooked, we'll bring freight in that we typically wouldn't haul. Might be at lower rates that don't work for the company, but if it works for the owner and there's still a little bit of margin for the company, we'll do that. And so we're working with some big customers right now that by March we plan on having that in there. We just basically give the owner more choices.
More options, right.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we want this to be is more options. Now the great thing, based on what Adam talked earlier about the non-domiciled and the CDL schools, as that starts to have an impact sometime next year, we don't know when that's going to be, but when that starts to impact the actual freight market, rates will go up. Now this owner-op load board is a great place to be. As those rates go up, your rate goes up.
Right.
So I'm excited about the opportunity next year, and our plan is to really grow this thing like crazy, but we've got to make sure we've got everything dialed in before we add too many owners to it. But then once we do, we feel very comfortable adding the freight, and then as the rate goes up, it should be a great thing for both Swift and our owners.
Yeah, I think the goal is that owner-operator load board is dynamic.
Yes.
It's work, and it may be different by market, right? There might be markets where we're overbooked, we're feeding more loads onto the load board, and others where, we're looking for a few more loads and may not be as much available. So just hang with us. Again, having flexibility helps with choices. So just know that, but we're really leaning into ensuring that we have ultimate flexibility and that the load board can be dynamic and move with the market.
Yep, exactly. Here's a question, Adam, and we had this conversation earlier in the week in a meeting. Are there going to be changes in the vacation pay? You want to hit on that?
So we are working on establishing a new program that will give flexibility to our driving associates of taking pay or taking vacation when they're actually off versus the automated payment that happens on your anniversary. And so we'll be most likely front-loading some PTO upon hire, and then you'll have a graduated scale of how many days you pick up based on your anniversary date. So still more details to come, but yes, that's on the docket for this year. We want to complete that. We're working on staffing the IT resources to do the programming there, but our goal is again to make that PTO a bit more dynamic and fit the needs of our driving associates.
Yeah.
That's for 20, maybe 26.
Yep, for 26 is when we would tend to have that rolled out.
Mark, there's some questions, there are kind of a couple of them specifically on Lowe's, but you want to just kind of talk about how in general how we're always trying to grow dedicated, just in this environment it's been a challenge, but you want to hit on that?
Yeah, so we have a very large dedicated platform, and we have a great customer base, and so these last couple of years have been challenging because our customers have had to make a lot of strategic decisions on how they reduce costs. Do they really need dedicated fleets? Can they go source that capacity in the one-way market at a lower rate potentially? There's a lot of decisions that our customers were making. Some had volume challenges that just didn't justify a dedicated fleet solution, and so there. A lot of tough decisions the last couple of years. Our strategy has been to hold on to every fleet that makes sense. I mean, we have to be able to make money. It has to make sense for us as well as our customer. And so that's been our priority, to make sure we protect our drivers' jobs, our support team jobs. And then besides that, we're always selling. We're always looking for new fleets that we can add to our portfolio. And it's been tougher. The space has gotten a lot tighter over the last couple of years, as our competitors have taken drivers and trucks out of the OTR fleet capacity, and they've moved them into dedicated. So whereas we used to have competition, we've never had it to the level that we're seeing it today, which hasn't really helped on the rate side either. It's driven rate reduction from a standpoint of needing to be more competitive to retain that business or win new business. But we're always out there looking for new fleets, and it's just been tough sledding. We're cautiously optimistic that we're going to see some more opportunities coming in 2026. But the space is more crowded. That's why doing a great job from our driver perspective, servicing the business, taking care of our customers, and being the go-to carrier is what helps us keep that business.
Yeah, because when it comes to a bid, that sometimes is what makes us different than a competitor is a proven track record. If we've been doing a great job, it's hard for a customer to take that freight away. Even if a competitor might be a little bit cheaper,
right,
they're willing to pay a little more if we got that great service.
I mean, I know I've said this on these calls before, but many of our customers have been around for decades, not just a year or two. 10, 20, 30 years we've been doing dedicated for them. So, they put a lot of trust in us, and we've got to execute and do the things they need us to do. We also have to be flexible. Their needs are changing. They do distribution center realignments, store realignments. Some of them have made acquisitions. Some of them have sold off parts of their company. So it's a very fluid type situation. And I just thank all our drivers again who have been impacted by those situations. We had one fleet a year and a half ago that got hit by a tornado in Marietta, Oklahoma, one of our Dollar Tree buildings. It was 1 million square foot of space that they had to tear down due to the tornado damage. So, I mean, we didn't do anything wrong. We just, our fleet was just at that location. And fortunately, no one was injured. But, they're going to rebuild at some point, and hopefully in 27, we'll be back in Marietta, Oklahoma. But that's just one example of, you don't expect that to happen, and you just deal with it.
Yeah, I think when our space has been as competitive as it has been the last 3 to 4 years, that trickles into dedicated. When one way gets really competitive and rates are pressured, that trickles into dedicated, and I think we felt that. But I honestly feel, to your point, Mark, worse is behind us, and 26 will be a year where we'll find some additional opportunities to grow.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right, what else, Jim?
Does that answer the question?
Yep, perfect. Thanks, Mark. There's a question here on can Swift truckers utilize night or total yards? We typically try to keep all the brands separate, or we'd have chaos. But if you live in an area where there's not a Swift terminal and there's another brand, one of our sister brands near your home, work with your terminal leader, because we make exceptions all the time. We just don't want to open that up across the board. So like if a night driver pulls into a Swift yard, their badge won't open a Swift gate, and vice versa. It's actually two separate systems. We couldn't even combine those if we wanted. We'd have to do away with both systems or go with one. But we do make exceptions, and we'll give a driver a badge to get into a sister brand. So if you have that scenario, get with your driver leader or your terminal leader, and we'll make that happen for you. So a couple other things I wanted to just hit quickly. We're about out of time, but there's a question here on any plans to update the navigation software. That's something we're always working on. We want that always to be more dynamic. So I can assure you we're always looking at that. That'll continue to get better. The new tablets Adam talked about will help with that as well. Sometimes we're limited on what we can add to our current tablets if you have an older unit. Another one here was questioning if the layover pay has changed to 34 hours. I'm not sure that rumor started, but that's definitely not true. It's 24 is the rule, but typically we'd err on the side of less hours, definitely not more. So if you're hearing that, again, work with your driver leader or your terminal leader, but that definitely is not the case. I think that's kind of it on general questions. Some of these we'll get back to you on these little one-off questions, but we're right at time. So, Mark, you want to wrap us up?
Hey, I'd just like to say happy holidays to everyone. Hope everyone has a great holiday season. Again, please be safe. And if you've got needs to communicate, let's make sure we have those discussions and get ahead of that. One of the things I talk to our team a lot about is making sure that our drivers understand our customer requirements, what their holiday work schedule is going to be, and that we get our drivers' commitment to what they're going to do to be part of that solution. So I would ask the same thing this year. I know everybody wants time off, and we're going to try to make sure that we meet every need possible, but we also have business to take care of, and again, we need to do it safely. So just thanks for all you're doing.
Jim? You wanna-
Yeah, I'll go. Hey, just to kind of add on to what Mark said, just appreciate all the hard work. I mean, it's our drivers, it's our techs, our office people. This is always the time of year where things get a little bit crazy, emotions boil over once in a while, and I just want to say how much we appreciate all the hard work inside the walls of the office, the shops, and really inside the cab of the truck. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I just echo both comments from Mark and Jim. You know, I think we're all just humbled to be part of a great company. We have unbelievably hardworking men and women that drive, you know, Swift, and really all of our sister brands as well. And we feel just grateful to be part of such a great organization, and hope everyone has, you know, a great holiday season, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And hey, stay safe out there. Obviously, that's the most important thing, is come home safe to your loved ones. But ultimately, we appreciate so much of everyone, and can't wait to turn the page to 2026 and start strong.
I know. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.